Life is too short to look back and wish you could have done things the way you wanted to do them. What is the dumbest tradition? Engagement rings. If you want a shiny rock, I'm not going to argue. But why do you need to buy jewelry just to announce you're getting married? Especially since marriage includes getting a completely different ring. I don't understand spending so much money on a ring that you'll barely wear. And even if you do use your engagement ring as a wedding ring, it still doesn't make sense to spend so much when no one will care in 6 months. Fake diamond rings can be just as nice, and despite the hate some people give them, the wearer will not care that it's fake in the long run, and your spouse won't have to spend so much for it. I never even had an engagement ring. The day we got married, we went to a local jeweler, just got whichever rings we wanted. He got a plain gold band and I got a gold band with tiny stones. However, they said that was an anniversary ring and not appropriate for me, but I said who cares, just give me what I'm paying for. And don't get me started on the whole 3 paychecks to buy an engagement ring. It was an ad campaign by De Beers in the 1930s. Prior to this, something like 10% of engagement rings contained diamonds. Went to 2 months in the 80s. The whole month's salary thing was just a really successful campaign that we still live with. Gender reveal parties. I went to my first gender reveal a few months ago. It was just an excuse to have a party. Lots of food and drink and music and commiserating, and then some biodegradable confetti bombs and blue lights. I don't usually mind gimmicky stuff, as long as it makes the people doing it happy. But I really don't understand the point in these. If I was having a baby, my reaction would be the exact same if I found out I was having a girl or a boy. I'd be happy with either. Voting a particular way because my parents vote that way. I think the same goes for believing in a religion because my parents believe in that religion too. I understand that if you're a minor, your parents are your primary influence in stuff like that, but once you are out in the world and making decisions on your own, if you want to change your religion, it's on you to learn about the different options. My 26-year-old cousin was going to vote after an extended family dinner for the last presidential election. Everyone in the room, aunts, uncles, his parents, except me and my mom, said basically, don't forget to vote Republican, make our family proud. I caught him privately at the door and said, vote however you want, they will never know. If you are 26 years old, and still ask mommy and daddy for whom to vote or what to believe, then there's something wrong with you. I got married a few years back, and I can tell you that at least 75% of wedding traditions are stupid and should be abolished. If you're getting married and there's something you're supposed to do that you just don't care about, seriously, skip it. You will still have plenty to do, and honestly you'll barely remember the day once it's done anyway. It all goes by so fast, it's insane. Ignore everyone else, skip the things that you think are dumb, and just enjoy your day. Absolutely no one will remember if you did that cringy garter dance or threw your bouquet. Traditions are just peer pressure from dead people. A lot of dating BS, honestly. I remember telling the man who would become my husband that I wasn't going to play those stupid dating games. If he texted me, I wasn't going to wait 3 hours to text him back just so he knew I had a life. Fortunately, he was on board and there was none of that nonsense. But the guy I dated before him was all about it. Hours between texts, never a phone call before 72 hours after a date. Ghosting. It's all so childish. If you like someone, it's okay to let them know. If they can't handle it, move on. This was made 10 times worse by online dating. Instead of getting to know someone well, people treat it like an all-you-can-eat buffet and sample you on a superficial level before throwing you out without a second thought. I think there's a lot of stuff people internalize from movies as teenagers and dating without knowing it's dumb, and that's what plays out for years. I remember the first time a friend abruptly called me because person X was discreetly inquiring if I was interested. And it turns out we had a date set up within 5 minutes instead of playing games for a week. It felt liberating to realize you can always do that. Sounds silly to me now, but women get a million rules thrown at them and it takes time to realize which ones you can ignore. Funerals. Spending a fortune on a coffin/casket just to bury it or burn it. Embalming a body and then doing the same. The funeral industry preys on the vulnerable in ways that should be criminalized. Many will actively try to guilt you into literally burning more money to show respect to the loved one you just lost. My instructions are going into my will. Pick the actual cheapest casket. No flowers. No ceremony. Ashes in a cardboard tube for scattering. A low-key wake at a separate establishment, for all my friends and relatives to remember me and dance. Spanish bullfighting. It's both shocking and hilarious. I mean, it sucks for the bull, but watching someone taunt a 2,500-pound tank animal, and then look shocked when something bad happens is indeed some cartoon scenario. They do something deliberately stupid and dangerous, and when someone inevitably dies or gets injured, the bull is the one that pays for it. It makes me furious. Smashing a cake in the groom or bride face. I've seen ones where they've been all dolled up and had their makeup ruined with a cake smash. I've also seen others where they've missed the cake and smashed their head straight into the table, giving them a concussion. There was also one where the birthday girl was blinded by her cousin because the cousin didn't take out the toothpicks and it went straight into the birthday girl's eye. Going into debt to buy everyone in your family Christmas presents because you have to. My husband's family is so nasty and compete trying to buy the most expensive thing. I grew up in a really poor family, and often Christmas gifts were second-hand, homemade, dollar store type of presents, and we always had so much fun. We baked cheap cookies and everyone played games and sang songs and just had fun. My in-laws are cold, fight over everything, freak if I turn a Christmas show on for the kids. One Christmas my mother-in-law put all of the gifts we got her, they were not expensive. My husband and I were just married and getting on our feet, put them in a box, and gave them back saying she didn't want any of this junk. We don't talk to that side of the family anymore, thankfully. I just don't get it. Cutting off a baby's foreskin. They have done that to me when I was a baby. I still can't understand how that's not a crime. No one asked me if I wanted to or not. The ridiculous part is how many people defend it, not because it's a religious practice, but because it's an existing religious practice. If someone wanted to scar the Star of David into their newborn, they'd have the police called on them, and nobody would defend it with "but it's a harmless scar." But circumcision? Totally fine, just a harmless scar. Staying together for the kids. Not 100% sure this is a tradition, but it sure feels like one with how often people do it. Like, dude, just admit your marriage is failing, be adults about it, and separate instead of pretending you're doing it for a good reason. As an adult whose parents did this, I can promise you're only hurting your kids and yourselves by doing this. White wedding dresses. White is the most unflattering color, makes you look 50 pounds heavier and doesn't outline your body at all. The one day it's about you and your partner and are not even gonna pick your favorite color dress? Lame. I'm wearing a black and peach pink dress to my wedding. A friend of mine was a virgin when she married and made a huge deal about getting to and being allowed to wear a white dress. She was vocally unhappy that I chose to wear a white wedding dress when I married because I didn't deserve it, as I was no longer a virgin. She believed that non-virgins wearing white cheapened her accomplishment of staying a virgin. And, yes, she used those quoted phrases in her arguments that I should have worn a different color. Asking for permission to marry your daughter. It never even occurred to me to ask the parents when I proposed to my now wife. It's not the 1800s and my wife doesn't even have a super close relationship with her parents, so she probably would have been insulted if I did ask them. I was only interested in my wife's opinion on the matter. Someone replied, when my now husband asked my dad, it was more for his blessing than anything. My husband is a traditionalist and was always going to ask, I didn't care. But he more asked it as a "Hey future father-in-law, I'm going to be proposing to your daughter next week and would be nice to have your blessing" type thing. Gender roles. If a man wants to stay home and take care of his kids while his wife works, he can. If a woman doesn't want to marry or have kids, she doesn't have to. If a man wants to cook for the family, he can. Speaking of cooking, why is the stereotype women cook in the house? But if it's outside it has to be men. But if it's being served to you at a restaurant it has to be a woman. But because the kitchen's in a restaurant a man has to cook it. Why? Gender roles are dumb. Traditional foods. And I mean the ones you do simply because it is tradition to eat X, Y and Z during this tradition. My country doesn't really have a great traditional cuisine. So having to eat the same stuff every year in and out gets dull. If the food was great we would be eating it at any time of the year. The fact that we ain't kinda proves that it's BS. Yet we keep making it only at those traditional times during the year because it's tradition. Traditions are great if they serve a purpose. But just doing stuff cause it's tradition is just stupid in my mind. Once I get my own family I will make damn sure that we are gonna celebrate traditions with whatever goddamn food we want for it. No restrictions. Bachelor and bachelorette parties. A few things. If you need to go out and F around with other people one last time, it is probably not the best relationship. Also, if you aren't allowed to go to a strip club or whatever, it is probably not the best relationship. Nothing wrong with looking at some boobs. And if my woman wants a monster willy waving in her face here and there, so be it. The false kindness rules. I'm talking about the ones that make you refuse a gift, expecting it to be offered to you once more, and other kinds of such rules. The thing is, such rules are usually very local, often limited to a particular village, and conflict with the rules of different areas. Imagine that in your area, being offered a gift means being respected highly, and it is rude to reject a gift. While in some other area, being offered a gift means you are supposed to refuse twice and only accept if the offer is repeated for the third time. The result? You meet someone. She offers you a gift. You don't really like chocolate, but you accept because you don't want to sound rude. Then she makes a weird face, as if you stole it from her. And she doesn't seem to be into you, but keeps offering you coffee and dinner, and pretends that the date was successful, only to block you on Tinder afterwards. Open casket funerals. I know too many people who were traumatized by one. I was maybe 3 years old when a great aunt died. We didn't live very near her, and I think they probably took me to see her when I was just born, but I didn't know her at all. She was laid out at her home, and from my young viewpoint there seemed to be hundreds of people in her house. At some point one of my relatives said I had to kiss Aunt Jenny goodbye. I got picked up and handed through the crowd like a parcel by a pack of crying strangers. Half of them would kiss me, almost like saying goodbye, and most were crying. When I got handed to my father, he was crying. I was so frightened by then, and he lowers me down towards the casket to kiss her face. Eventually, years later, I came to understand that no one meant me harm. But at that time I fully believed they were going to put me in the box with the dead lady I didn't know. I have blacked out anything else from that day. I avoid funerals completely. All of them. Celebrate how you want to. Wear whatever color or style of wedding dress your heart desires. In my opinion, quinceañeras and sweet 16s are overrated and a waste of your family's money. But if that's what you want to do, nobody can stop you from making it happen. Wear white after Labor Day, who cares? Pay for your own wedding instead of your parents', or just go to a courthouse without announcing it. Who cares what people think? Cut yourself off from the herd. Be free. Life is too short to look back and wish you could have done things the way you wanted to do them. I had a traditional wedding and we got divorced so fast. I'm not even religious, but had it in a church to please me and my ex's family. My next plan is to not even tell anyone if I get married again, because we're going to a courthouse, wearing a dress designed and handmade by me. When I was about 7, my dad put a Muppet puppet as a Christmas tree topper. Do what makes you happiest. Thanks for listening to Radio TTS. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell, because it is a tradition on this channel. Click the right box for the Society Lies to You playlist. Let us know in the comments what you think about these traditions.